Okay. We can start the Mishnah. Okay, we're going to have to do the run on this. Konim Peros Elo. Elu Olai. Person says, these fruits are konim. Off limits to me. But he used the word Elu. Very important point. He's speaking about something specific. Konim Heim Alpi. They are konim to my mouth. Konim Heim Lifi. Also Bichudufeyan. Let's say now you exchange something for them. Ubigiduleim, you plant them, now something grows. What about if he says Sheini Ochel? He didn't say Elu, he didn't say these. He says, I will not eat, let's say, figs, tomatoes, whatever he says. Shani Toim, I will not taste. Muta Bichudufeyan Ubigiduleim. He's permitted to eat the benefit from the exchange, if they're exchanged for something else. Something that grows. Vidovish is Zarokolo. That's only if it grows from it. Zarokolo means that the seed decomposes totally, and then it grows afterwards. Avodovish ain't Zarokolo. Let's you put it in, and it just gets larger, and it grows from that source. Then you can't. Afilu Giduli Gidulim. Also, if it's ein Zarokolo, if the seed doesn't totally decompose in the ground, then even the growth of the growth, because everything is a derivative of the original. Okay, let's take a look in the Ran. Very, very important Ran over here. The case we say that he's not permitted in the exchange or the growth, right? We say, he said, Perus Elu. He said, these fruits. So the Ran, Mishum de Kevon de Porat Advor Menesorim Olav Shavinu Ole Kegdish. He says, these fruits, that person's fruits, so he gave it the status of Hegdish, right? Let's say you magdish something, you can consecrate something, and you exchange something for Hegdish. So the exchange is not permitted. Something you planted, something grows from that. You're not permitted to benefit from it, right? As if you would consecrate something, you exchange something for it, or something grows from it. You're not. It's not like a person says, I will not benefit from olive, from figs, and from dates. Shekav shel porat v'oser olav kol hamin. Lo osu olav hegdish shel niskavin el machilas osamin. When he says these fruits, these figs, these, so that means he's consecrated. That's equivalent. He's speaking specifically. But if he says, I will not eat them, he doesn't say these. He means he will not benefit from it. Shemochi lo mitzar bichulfein ubegidulein el beporet ki hochdam aperus o elu. Udinomar om aperus mokum ploni, the fruits of such a location, or perus of the fruits of so and so. Kevich yichad yiched hareyu poret v'osa bichulfein ubegidulein. As he said, explain. Chitemo, he's asking. What are we saying? The reason why he's not permitted to benefit from the exchange or from what grows from, because he said specific, these fruits are that location's fruit or that person's fruits. But boy, Rami Bar Chomel asked the question in Template back, Pekashutim, Kone Peros or Elu al Ploni. A person says, his own fruit says, these fruits are forbidden, these fruits to so and so. So over there, Rabbi Bar Choma asked the question, Ma'u b'chilufein? What about the exchange of those fruits? Usfeke, the Rabbi Bar Choma, what's his question? Here, the person says, no, he said Elu. These fruits are not permitted to John Doe. Again, let me say what he's saying. So, Rabbi Choma, a person says, these fruits are not permitted to so-and-so. These fruits. Right? Or he says, these fruits are not permitted to me. These fruits. So Rambam Choma says, what about if now those fruits, you exchange those fruits, or you plant those fruits? What's its status versus the one who made the neder? If he says to me or to a third party? So Gemara has a question. Are they or are they not? So there he's being specific. Okay, to the person himself, the Gemara says definitely it's not permitted. What about the third party? What do we should do? Okay, that's his question.
Well, it's still the question. It sounds like it could be.
Right? So what's the question? Okay, so the Gemara says, if I want to say somebody else's fruits are not permitted to me, it's not my item. Could I say it? Definitely. If I say, let's say these fruits are not permitted to a third party. Now let's say something grows. That's the equivalent of Dav Olam. Those fruits don't exist yet. So could I prohibit something that's not mine on someone else? Could I say your fruits are not permitted to Judah? No, we're talking, let's say you would plant them, something would grow from them. Or in exchange, right? Or in exchange. If I say your fruits are not permitted to him, does it mean? It means nothing. I could only prohibit mine on someone else. I could prohibit something that's not mine on myself. But to prohibit something which is not mine to someone else, I don't have that ability, correct? So therefore, if I say, these fruits are not permitted to so-and-so, definitely, my fruit's not permitted so. So that's, of course, you could do that. What about now I plant those fruits and something grows from those fruits? So if it has to grow first, that's called Dav Olam. So that's not yours yet. So when I made the neder, I want to prohibit something that's not mine. You can't prohibit something that's not mine to someone else, just as I can't prohibit something that's yours on him. The fruits that haven't yet grown, I can't prohibit on someone else. They haven't grown yet. But once they grow, they're yours. But you want to affect it now, right? Is now to take effect now. So you want to affect something in the future. You can't affect something in the future. For yourself, you could. Because even though it's not yours, even though it doesn't exist, it doesn't make a difference. Because I can affect, until something comes into existence, it's not yours, correct? So therefore, you can't affect something, that's the question. If it's affecting something in the future on myself, I could affect that. The fruits that will grow are not permitted to me. It's like saying your fruits are not permitted to me. But to affect something which hasn't yet come into existence on someone else, you can't. That's one side of the question. The other side of the question, maybe you could. Why? Because maybe what grows from the fruits, that's synonymous with the fruits themselves. It's not prohibiting something that doesn't exist. That is that's a derivative. What grows directly, that's a derivative. That's his question. What's the halachic difference? If you say you can't, so you could only prohibit it to the one who made the neder on himself, but not on third. But if you say it's a derivative, that is one and the same with the item itself, because it directly grows out of what I prohibited to you. Those are the two sides of the question. So over here, the Ran's asking, seemingly that's the Mishnah over here. It says in the Mishnah that if a person says these fruits are not permitted, it's not only themselves, it's even the exchange and what grows out of it. Let's see the Ran's question. Says these fruits should not be permitted to so and so on third party. If you exchange it, what's the question? Is it the intent of the one who makes the neder? He'll go dafka noder also, that it would only affect the one who made the neder, right? Avu mudalo, but it would not affect the one who wants it prohibited on. Oh, dilma no, lav mishum kavonas hanoder. It has nothing to do with my intent. Ela mishum dechilfein kiguleim domi. The exchange and what grows, it's one and the same. Meaning, exchange means, I go and I take what grows, I take the fruit, and I exchange it for something else. So let's say I get money for it. So now the money, the money is a result of what you're not permitted to benefit. So you receive the money, you're benefiting from the fruit. It's one and the same. Right? Over there, when he says, the Gemara's discussion is when we say that the exchange is the equivalent of what grows out, it's not what he said, became the Elu Lavdavko, Ki Nema Namishim Kavoras Hanoderu Mashma, the Elu Lavdavko, Duadin Bose Klau. Ramachalom Stapik Be'elu Idavko, right? Rami Barcham poses the same question without the word Elu. You cannot benefit from my fruits or from whatever. Yesh Lomad Lolam Elu Davko. The field name at the time Mishum Chulafem Guduleim Domu, Mishum Dahu time of Losagi Elo Osun Alamach Lefatzmo. Avo Lo Osun Lachelo, Mastisen Posik Vetoni, Osu Bichulem Gudulei, and Afil Echlifa Nacher. Our Mishnah says whether the one who made the neder makes the exchange, or let's say someone else makes the exchange. It seems to be from our Mishnah it's Osir. V'hay yisur al korchoch mishum eluhu do chilufi yisur ano shlifen acher lo asiri. Rabbi Chaman le'el hochi kamar pshita l'kshechlif nache mishum elu mitzar hilkoch dafke no derosur. He says kshechlif nache mishum elu mitzar hilkoch dafke no derosur avu muder lo v'aboli chlifan hu in mitzri chalifan dafke mishum elu. The name of dafke gabi no der avu muder lo ki echadi omer kshechlif nache odilma gnam kshechlif nache asiri dafke. Okay, let's go further. Now, person says to his wife, Kone masi yodayicholai. I will not benefit from your earnings. Kodim hein lapi, kodim hein lafi, also bichudfeim gudulayin. He's not permitted to benefit not from the earnings or the exchange of the earnings or what grows from the earth. Shani ochel shni toim. But let's see, he doesn't say specifically, no. He says the earnings. Says I will. He says I will not eat. I will not taste. Although seemingly, what we're saying regarding his wife's earnings or what she prepares, it seems to be the Mishnah is redundant. The Mishnah differentiates. If I say these fruits are not permitted to me, you speak specific or that person's fruits. We say not only the fruits, if you exchange something in that place or something that grows them also. And the same thing is true regarding, if you make a neder regarding your wife's handiwork. If he says, I will not benefit from my wife's handiwork or from what she makes, bakes, cooks, whatever it is, then if you exchange with something else, right? Or if the outgrowth of that you can't benefit from. But if you say, right, I will not eat it, I will not taste it, it's that, but whatever else is permitted. So it seems to be the Mishnah is redundant. I mean, it's the exact same case. It's the same application. What's the chiddush of the second case more than the first thing we said? So the Ran goes to explain what the chiddush is. The miyachet perosov shoploni kihocha the yichad masi the yishto kome elu domi below tiksheloch maistam dovshe bomamish. Second, Koseria, he says, what's the Mashmir with the Miyachid Perosov Shoploni Kihocho, the Yichid Masi, the Yishto Komer Elu. See, before he said Elu. Elu means these fruits I will not benefit from, right? Here he says, I will not benefit from my wife's handiwork. He didn't say this handiwork, that handiwork. So maybe you'd think, maybe he spoke more in generalities, he means just that itself, but anything else, not. So that he wants to say, even though you didn't say the word elu, this particular earnings, or this particular item, is the equivalent of saying that. That's the chiddush of the second case over the first. First case, he said specifically, I will not benefit from these fruits, from that person's fruits. Here he says, I will not benefit from my wife's handiwork. So he didn't say this. It's much more, you may think, maybe only that, but let's say the exchange or the outgrowth that maybe you could. No, there's no difference.
It's a very simplistic. She baked the cake. Not only did not eat it, you couldn't sell it.
Let's see, no. Let's say you sold the cake. You can't benefit from the earnings, from the proceeds of that. Well, let's say she made something. Then let's say you plant it, and something grows from that. Also, you can't benefit from it. Okay? Let's go further. Let's say he says to his wife, Shat ose eni ochel ara Pesach. Yeah? It says, if you cook something or prepare, I will not eat from it. Anything you prepare until Pesach, anything you prepare, I will not eat till Pesach. So what is that? But after Pesach, you could eat from it. Shat oso eni kas ara Pesach. Let's see, she makes a garment, weaves something. No, I'm not permitted to wear it until Pesach. So oslefnei Pesach, right? So let's say she cooks the food or weaves the garment or tailors it. Muter lechol, lechol is kas achra Pesach. Before Pesach, he's not, but after he can. Shat oso ara Pesach. What you prepare before Pesach? Eni ochel. Shat ose ara Pesach eni miskaser. You hear this? He didn't make any time limits. He says, anything you prepare before Pesach, I will never eat. Anything garment you make, I will never wear. So if she makes before, that means ever, forever. He's not permitted. Osle Pesach, Oslechol Iskasu Achar Pesach. It's poshut. We'll see what the chiddush is. Shat nenisli. What if she says like this? Shat nenisli at a Pesach. He says, you're not permitted to benefit from me. Here, the husband is prohibiting his wife. Im holeches at lebesavich arachag. If you go to your father's house, now we're Purim. If you go to your father's from now till Sukkot, you cannot benefit from me until Pesach. So that means if she goes after Pesach, let's say she goes after Pesach, then she could benefit, because she only said you cannot benefit from me until Pesach. Okay? Holcha lefnei Pesach. No, let's say she goes for Asura B'Hanos Ara Pesach. What about, right? Only until Pesach she's not. Right. What about Lachra Pesach? What if she goes after Pesach?
It's good. It should be.
No, wait a second. No, and she already benefited before Pesach. She benefited before Pesach, and she went after Pesach. So what's she in violation? So she's in violation of a nether. Because the husband said, you cannot benefit from me before Pesach if you go till Sukkot. And she benefited before Pesach, but she didn't go to her father's house. She decides she's going to her father's house for Shavuos. So retroactively, she wasn't permitted to benefit. Right? When she benefited, it wasn't a problem because she didn't violate the condition. The husband said that you cannot benefit from me before Pesach if you go to your father's house till Sukkot. So before Pesach, she didn't go to her father's house. She decides 2 weeks after Pesach she's going to her father. So when she benefited, did she do anything wrong? No. But now if she goes retroactively, the netter kicks in, right? Because it was a conditional netter. So the she says, what about he says, She'at nenisli adachag? You're not permitted to benefit from me until Sukkot. If you go to your father's house before Pesach, you can't benefit from me until Sukkot. Right? If she went to her father's house before Pesach, then she can't benefit from her husband until Sukkot. But after Pesach, let's say she didn't go before Pesach, and she chooses to go after Pesach, she's permitted, because the husband only said you're not permitted to go until Pesach. But after Pesach, you're permitted to go. But if she violates the netter, she can't benefit until Sukkot. But if she didn't violate the netter, and she went after Pesach, which is not a violation of netter, there's nothing reason why she can't benefit from the husband. I mean, saying what's the chiddush for all these cases? Which is kosher, right? What's the chiddush? Right? You give me variations of applications of conditional netter, not conditional netter. What's the chiddush? Let's see the Ran. Shat ose eni ochel ara Pesach. Mutar lechol l'skasel ara Pesach. She says, the food you prepare or the garment you make, I will not eat or I will not benefit, right, before Pesach. So, but after Pesach is permitted, right? Correct? Lo mesapkina dilma ara Pesach koi al shat ose. V'ini ochel ba'olam. Hear this? Maybe because you may think that when she said, anything you prepared for Pesach, a garment you make, I will not benefit from. So maybe that means if anything prepared forever, you're not going to. No, we said what you make for Pesach, I will not benefit from until Pesach. Until that's what we're interpreting. Therefore, once Pesach passes, he could benefit. He can permit. Come to the hochi have a little member shot osa at Pesach and the ochel. If that's the case, he should have said, if shot at what you make, he should have said, I will not eat. He didn't say that. I will not eat. He said before Pesach. That's what he said. Defining up to Pesach, but after Pesach I can eat it. Defining seifo low kamer hochi mashma that a Pesach chilakoi. What he said until Pesach means what you prepared for Pesach I will not eat until Pesach, but after Pesach I'm permitted to eat it. At Pesach, I see parishno lo leo perik elum mutorin lo review the case. Okay, further. He's making netter. He's making netter. Right. So how does he do it? So this Gemara says he has to make a contingent on something else. He has to make contingent on something else, right? Because he's bound to her financially. The netter should not be a netter. So that's what he says at the end. Each one. Yeah. What does he say there in the footnote? Yeah, she doesn't benefit from her. Right.
Well, it's a theoretical argument. In actuality.
No, the Gemara asked the question. No, because he makes a contingent like this. He says,
She triggers it by what the behavior is. She's the one who's
no. Well, that's what he says on the bottom.
No.
That's what I'm saying. He says, if I cannot benefit from you. Let's say we had about it regarding conjugal obligations. But he's obligated. How could she say her? He says, no, I will not benefit from you. If you do that, I can't have benefit from you. So that he made it. It's forbidden to you, because if not, then I can't benefit from you. Something like that. It's contingent on something else. Otherwise, it's correct what you're saying. Okay, let's go further. Person says he will not benefit from his wife's earnings. Yishmael Ishkar Yama. Yishmael came from a community, far, which was by the ocean. V'amri lo Ishkar Yama. Hela biyodo botzel. Shokar b'shvius. Interesting shayla. Person picks an onion that was picked in shvius. So what's the status of the onion? It has kedusha shvius. Right? You have to deal with it shvius. V'noto b'shmiyanis. And then he takes that onion, which is the 7th year, he plants it in the 8th year. So now it grows. It has offshoots. Robo gedula valikro. So let's say you have to have 100 to 1. So what grew is more than, let's say the onion was the size of a walnut. And by the time it grew to something which was multiples of what originally it was. It was tiny.
Like a fish?
No, nothing to do with this.
A little bit.
No. No, dog is a single fish. One is multiple fish.
So this is
No. It grew larger. It grew larger. Or it produced multiple onions. But those onions came from the original onion.
Okay.
So we're talking bittel barov over here. Bittel
Okay.
has nothing to do with it, right? So the growth of the 8th year is permitted, correct? The growth of the 7th year has restrictions. Rob gedula valikro. Gedula heter vikro asur. Do we say that what grew out, since it's the growth of the 8th year, it's permitted? But what you put in the ground is what? That's asur. But keva the robo gedula of mikro osin gedula, right? Osan gedula heter malis isur. They subsume the isur, right? They subsume what originally was asur. It becomes subsumed in what? In
whatever the proportion is at that point.
Correct. Olo, or maybe not. Maybe not. Why? Because it all grows from that one isser. Everything is an outgrowth of that. So what continues to grow is growing from that.
Good.
Let's see the Ran on that. Hello, Yeshela befiv. Robo gdula v'ikro. Labra b'yeh b'luchud kamar. Elo revio k'shiotzimo midi d'osimi almo. They levatla so osimi b'gdula misafka. Why is he questioning? We always say bittul barov. Let's say you have a fruit of shvius. It falls into a mixture. It's bottle. So why is this more of a question? Because here, misafkale, because migdul misafkale, igdul and hetem mailin, as Yisraelo, nearly the ikar sveki. What's the question here? Iamri the gedulin came shin mishochen v'yotzim in the ikar sheino kolu. We're talking about it's growing from something which doesn't decompose in the ground.
Right.
Doesn't, right? It doesn't. So that means the bulb is what is nourishing everything that grows out.
Right.
So if everything grows out, regardless of volume, it's all a derivative of that original.
Right.
So therefore, everything identifies with where it emanates from, right? It doesn't deteriorate. I mean, the Gemara could have asked, what are we asking? Does it subsume the bulb? right? It should say, are the gedulim permitted? Forget about it. What are we talking about subsuming? What grows out of it, is it a derivative of what was in the ground, or something other than? So he says it's one and the same. He says, if we say what grows out subsumes what originally put in the ground, pshita desharutz, understood? The ein malin, if they're not able to, pshita dasiri. Kachnir beinai b'sobach tira mashi is kind of the first king. Even though it's a factual, it's a little bit of a dochi. What are we asking a question as to subsume it? Let's ask much more, state it more simply. What grows out of the bulb, is it permitted, is it also? What do we have to talk about? Does it subsume the bulb in the ground? Right. He says it's one and the same. That in actuality is the Gemara's question. Okay?
Very simply, if you take it out of the ground and shoot it, he didn't plant it.
No, it grew in the Shemitah year. You put a seed, now something grows in the Shemitah year.
He planted.
Planted? No, before the Shemitah year. Before the Shemitah year. It's one of the produce. It grows naturally. Planted the onions in the 6th year. And it was a little seed. Now it grows in the 7th year. That produce that grows, that's the produce of Shemitah. Still has Kedusha Shvius. You're permitted to eat it during the. Well, now we're already holding the 8th year. It has restrictions. It's permitted to eat it. No. Which means, let's say you have produce of Shvius. It has Shemitah. If you have produce of Shemitah, it has certain restrictions on it. After a certain period of time, you're not permitted to eat it anymore. You have to get rid of it. It has to be disposed of. He took this produce, which you're permitted to eat during the 7th year, plants it in the 8th year. You're allowed to plant in the 8th year. Now it grows. No, without factually, without saying what he should have factually planted it. Now it grows endless times more than it originally was volume-wise, and ratio-wise, it's enough to subsume that small bulb. So we're asking a question: what grows out of that? Could it subsume it because we see it as a separate entity? Right? Because what grows is permitted, therefore it subsumes the bulb? Or do we say no? Since it grows from the bulb and the bulb is shvius, even though it's growing in the 8th year, that's called the produce of the 7th year. Because it's growing from the bulb that grew during the 7th year. So it's even the new growth has kedusha shvius. Because it's emanating from that bulb. That's the Gemara's question. But clearly, the Ran says we're speaking about here where the bulb doesn't disintegrate in the ground. It starts growing, it grows directly from that bulb. Okay, so let's see the Shaila. Okay, so the Gemara says, so he presented the question before Ravami, he didn't have the answer. So he went and he resolved it from something Rav Chanina Triso said named Rabbi Yanai. Botzel shel truma, you have an onion, a truma onion. So an onion that's truma could only be eaten by a kohen. Yeah, listen to the story. Shenotu. So if he plants it, now you have growth from that onion. So what is the growth? Is it truma, which would only be permitted to the kohen? Or do we say it's a new growth? One second, it's a new growth. So what is it? Something that grows, let's say there's a law of tevel. Untithed produce is called tevel. But before it's processed, you're permitted to eat it, as long as you don't eat a substantial amount of it. Correct? Let's say you have a vineyard, and you want to pick a grape off the vineyard and eat it. You're permitted. Even though it wasn't tithed, nothing. Because it hasn't been harvested yet. Once it's harvested, it's something else. But pre-harvesting, if you want to snack off the tree, off the vine, it's not a problem. So here, if what grows from that onion, from that truma is truma, it's only permitted to a kohen. But if you see the growth as a new growth, so what is it? It's chulin, and it's not tevel because it hasn't been harvested, so it will be permitted. So you said, botzel shel truma, shetnotov rabu gedulav al ikro. The onion originally was a truma onion. He planted it, and the growth was 100 times the original bulb. Yeah? So he says mutter. So seemingly it's the equivalent case. You have shvius, a bulb. So we see here what grows from truma is not truma, correct? Because it says you're permitted to eat the growth. So what grows from the shvius, since it's growing during the 8th year, we see it as the produce of the 8th year. Therefore, it's permitted, right? Omalei. That's how we want to resolve it. From Rab Chanina Trisa, it said name Rabbi Yanai. Omalei Rabbi Yanai. Excuse. Omalei Rabbi Yirmi V'Temer Rab Zriko. When he heard that, it was Rabbi Yirmi. Others say it was Rabbi Shaved Mar Trei Vovt Gechad. You're willing to abandon 2 positions for the sake of what this one person said? We're quoting now. It's not a brisa. It's a statement of what? Of Rabbi Yanai. What is it? Shavak Matrain Vovt Gechad Maninu. Who are the 2 people? What are the 2 rulings which are contrary to this ruling? Domer Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan. Yaldo Shesivcha Bizkena Uba Peris. Let's say you take a branch. You hear this? A branch which has fruit on it. The yield of the first 3 years is orla. You're not permitted to benefit from fruits. Orla is subsumed in 200 to 1. That's the ratio. Let's say I take a branch which has fruit on it from a tree that is what? It's within the first 3 years. So the small fruits that are on that branch are orla fruits. I go and I graft it onto an old tree. Here? Now, after I graft it on the old tree, well, that small little bud grows into a full, large fruit, which is 200 times the original fruit. What is the status of that fruit? Do we see it as orla? Or do we, because it grew from that one fruit, or we say since it's part of the ecosystem of the old tree, all that is added is new fruit. It subsumes that little fruit that was on that branch. What would you say? It's the same question. So if you follow what we just said about the onion of truma planting, that its growth is permitted, I'd say the fruit's also permitted. It was said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, those fruits, you're not permitted to eat those fruits. It's our law, even if it's more than 200 to 1. So what do you see from that ruling? That it's an outgrowth of that orla. It's just expanding orla, because it's all emanating growth from the orlas. Let's see. Yalda means a young sapling. Chesivcha biskenu, you grafted onto an old tree. Uba peros, and on that branch there were fruits, orla fruits. Alpha pisho sifa masayim, even though the additional growth was 200, which is 200 to 1, also, that's one ruling, which is contrary to what you just said. V'omer Shmuel bar Rav Nachmani Rabbi Yonason, Rav Shmuel bar Rav Nachmani Rabbi Yonason, Botzel Shenota Bekerim. Here, onion that was growing in a kerim, in a vineyard. So what is it? It's kloya kerim. It's growing. It's an intermingling of what? Of the wine with the onion, the nekar, and then it was uprooted. Olive. Good second. Afilu hosif mosayim. You have to go. Even if now you've replanted and you have 200 to 1, which is kloya kerim, osur. Still, so we have 2 rulings, which are contrary to what you just wanted to say. You cited Reb Chanina B'Trisa that the bottle of truma it says it's mutter. We have 2 other rulings, which is contrary. That even if you have 200 times as much as orla, 200 times as much as kloya kerim, you're not permitted to benefit from the outgrowth. So we're in a quandary here. Is it mutter or is it osir? Hado osir l'kamid Rabami, or partially min hado. So they brought it before Rabami, and he resolved it from this. The Omar Rabbi Yitzchak, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, litra b'solim. You have litra is a certain measure of onions. Shetikno, v'zoro. So he went and tithed it, and he planted it. Misaseres lefikula. Let's see the run on that. The next to the last narrow line. Afi shenekar bekerem v'godel achach beheter osa al megdulim shemina ikar hen yotzin harein kamo v'gabi shvius nami lo shno. What exactly is the case? Litra mamish al betzol shetikno sheisro kilchos v'zor v'godel v'seres likula shekar iser. Yeah, that's true. V'ikar kayim v'ino kol tzorch lavrish min ha'gedulim min ha'ikar l'fi shebotlu gedulim v'seikar. It says over there now. You take this liter, this, let's say, a pound of onions, you tithe it, then you plant it. Now it grows, and you have a whole new harvest of onions. The onion in the ground, that bulb. So you have to take, let's say, a tenth. That bulb in the ground, you have to take part of the maisa. Does it have to be taken from the bulb in the ground? No. So Rabbi Yitzchak said, Rabbi Yochanan, literally, so tikna v'zor misases l'tikula. Everything has to be retithed, even the bulb. So what do we see? That the bulb is subsumed by the new growth. He originally tithed the original onions. Now he plants new onions grow. You have to retithe. You have to retithe that original entity, because since now it's part of this new entity, it's subsumed.
So that's a rebuttal of what we just had. Is that correct?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Alma osam gidul mevatel nikar. That's what he says. So evidently you see that what grows subsumes the bulb. Mer says, no, dim l'chum rishayni. We're talking l'kula, this l'chum rishayni. We're talking about something, you plant truma, what grows out of it, what grows out. Dim l'chum rishayni. Let's see. Dim l'chum rishayni. L'olam emelach the bedin losi gidul mevatel nikar. I'll tell you, normally what grows out doesn't subsume the source. Here we're talking about this is astringency here. Normally I'll tell you whatever grows out, if you have kloya kerem, or you have orla, whatever grows, it's emanating from that. Truma emanates from that. Here, what it's saying, even though you already tied the original bulbs, here we give it a stringency, we treat it more stringent. But it doesn't tell us what bikar adin is. Here we're talking about tithing. We treat the bulb as if it was never tithed. But that's l'chumra, that's a stringency. That's what he says. He says very simple. He's asking a question. He says, how could you say, we had earlier, if it's a chumrah, but you could create problems. If we're saying, in halacha, the bulb is not obligated. Only the growth is obligated. Wait. What happens if you take from something that you're not required to tithe, and tithe in something that is required to tithe? It's not a valid tithing. So if you tell me the bulb, mi'ikar adin, the halacha is, you don't have to tithe, because it's been tithed. What happens if you choose to tithe from the bulb onto the new growth? It's not valid. So he says very simple. The whole thing is a chumrah. Anything that grows from that bulb doesn't have to be tithed. So if you tithe from itself, what we call mineo bay, if I treat it, it's all chayov, so it's not a problem. But in reality, it's all potter. We're not taking you take from elsewhere. You take it from itself. You take either from the bulb on the growth or from the growth on the bulb. But if we don't differentiate between the bulb and the growth, then it's not a problem. Because whatever the status of one is, the status is on what grows from it. That's what he said earlier. What was the original question? When I plant truma, what grows from the truma, is it truma? Right? Or is it not truma? If it's truma, then it can't subsume the bulb in the ground. And if it's not truma, then it does subsume it. But it's the same question. If I look at what grows out of it as a separate entity, then it does subsume it. If not, it doesn't subsume it. You can never differentiate between the growth and what's in the ground. Correct? Because it's either one and the same. If it's one and the same, then it's osir. It's not one and the same, then the growth subsumes it. So here you go and you take 2 pounds of onions, you tithe it. Now you plant, now you have new onions. New onions. Do I have to tithe the new onions? So it says when you tithe the new onions, you tithe even the bulb in the ground, which already was tithed. Is it a problem? It's not a problem. Of course, it's subsumed. So he says, no, there's no proof from there. That's l'chumra. I'll tell you, on a Torah level, it's nothing. Factually, the growth subsumes the bulb. Now that we're saying you treat it as if it's tevel, including the bulb, the whole thing's a chumrah. It's all rabbinical. Rabbinical stringency, you tithe it all. And whatever the status of the bulb is the growth, and whatever growth is the bulbs. So if you tithe from itself, you can never tithe from something on something where the level of obligation, different obligations, is less. Okay? That's the run. Tell you what, my difficulty, it's a side issue. My difficulty is, there's a discussion by Bittel. What is Bittel? Is Bittel a neutralization? Or Bittel, when, let's say you have non-kosher meat and kosher meat. When the non-kosher meat is subsumed, you have 100 to 1, 60 to 1. Now you eat the non-kosher piece. We're talking about you can't locate it. What's the status of the non-kosher piece? Is it neutralized? Or does it assume the status of the majority? No, is it like, now it's like, it's soy meat? Or is it meat but it becomes kosher meat? It's an argument among the Rishonim, what it is. If you're saying that the bulb is subsumed by the majority, that means it's assuming the characteristics of the majority. No, so I'm saying, what the Gemara is saying over here, we had an original question. The bulb, do you have to tithe the bulb or not? So it says, you even have to tithe from the bulb. So if you're tithing from the bulb, what does that mean? That means that giving the bulb, not a status of whatever is a fish, you're giving the status of the identical status as the majority. Because you're adding to it. So you see from here, seemingly, that the minority assumes the characteristic of the majority. I'll give you an example where this is relevant. Tzitzis, when you make the string of the tzitzis, it has to be made lishma, right? Even when you twist the string, it's called the tefillah. It has to be spun lishma. You have to twist it. It's called shizu lishma. Let's say you have 1,000 strings that were done properly with the right intent. One string was not, made by a non-Jew, whatever it is, and that one string falls into 1,000 strings. Right? Is the one string subsumed by the others? So Rameir Simcha says it depends. What's different? If you say the minority assumes the status of the majority, then they're all kosher strings. But if you say the minority never could assume the characteristic of the majority, regardless of the ratio, you could have 1,000,000 to 1. All the strings are what? All the strings you're not permitted to use. Of course, it has nothing to do with min b'mino. There's nothing to do with min b'mino. It is min b'mino. Min b'mino normally is batil. If you have kosher meat and non-kosher meat, neutralization allows the non-kosher meat to be permitted. But here, what validates the string that wasn't made lishma? You need lishma. Factually, it'll never be lishma.
Right.
So that means it has to assume the characteristic of the majority. Rove never does that. So therefore, they're all puzzled. We can't use any of the strings because you'll never be able to determine which is the string, which is not the valid string. That's what so I'm saying over here. We're saying the bulb that you put in the ground, it says you tithe it and you include within the volume the bulb. So how are you looking at the bulb? As if it's untithed.
Right.
That means that the bulb is assuming the status of what? Of the majority.
Right.
So you have to make a differentiation. You have to make a differentiation. Could be over here, and there's such a svara in the Rambam that once something is fully integrated in something, when you're dealing with separate pieces of meat or strings, one string has nothing to do with the other. So over there, it can't give it a din. What about if it's fully integrated? Let's say liquid with liquid, right? Then the minority assumes the status of the majority. Over here, if they're growing, it's fully integrated. The bulb now grew into something much larger. So everything in the bulb has changed within it. You have a trace of the original bulb, but it's fully intermingled. When it's fully intermingled to that degree, then it identifies as the majority. You have to make such a differentiation. But even though in its makeup, part of that original bulb is there, but it's a new entity. It's changed, totally changed. So there's a trace of that original bulb in the larger bulb, in the large onion, with all the volumes of onions. Doesn't make a difference. That's what you have to say.
So then the proportion is valid.
Therefore, the minority can even assume the characteristics of the majority. That's what you have to say from this Gemara.
This is similar to the adding yeast. You're going to have it out here and you're going to put it together. Is that like a similar situation?
That's zev zegorim. You have two things causing the outgrowth. Each one independent can bring something about.
So there's clear.
No, there you're dealing with subsuming. You have truma yeast in an ordinary dough. Could a regular Yisrael eat that? So let's say there's not enough truma yeast to make it rise, and you have to take all other yeast to make it rise. So then we say it's not truma. This truma is subsumed, because I'm not attributing the rising to the truma, because the truma in its own right couldn't do it. That's called zev zegorim.
So it's a different concept.
Different concept to be continued.